Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. We're going to take a look back at the Week 12 on DraftKings from NFL. I'm going to do a recap. I'm going to look at my Best Buys column. I'm going to take a look at my cash game lineup. I'm going to see how we did. And we're going to go player by player in that article to see how well I did, where I was right, where I was wrong. And it was a weird week because the article comes out super early on Thanksgiving week. It's a weird content week. For anybody in the industry, you understand that, like, typically speaking, I have a cadence of when I come out with things. Obviously, first look and recap comes out on Monday. Thursday night football, I put out a video on Tuesday. I spend most of Tuesday usually researching, coming up with my list of players that I want to put in Best Buy, and I kind of format the article a little bit. I edit that and change that on Wednesday when I actually write the article, all the way up until the end of the day. I turn it in on Wednesday night. It gets published on Thursday. On Thanksgiving week, everything gets condensed into like 2 days. We tape The Edge on Thursday mornings. So last week we had to do 2 podcasts. We taped those Wednesday morning right before I got on my flight out of town to go see family for Thanksgiving. I compiled my players for Best Buys on Monday and started writing it on Monday. On Tuesday is when it was finished and turned in. And we got out like 3 videos last week for YouTube. We got out my article last week. We had 2 podcasts with the Daily Fantasy Edge. And if you don't listen to The Edge, you should. Please download it. It's available anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Just search for Daily Fantasy Edge if you're interested in listening to that. And essentially, it's a very condensed week. So then by the time you get done with the Thanksgiving slate and then back for the weekend, a lot of things have changed. We were back for the Anti-Tinkercast on Twitch right before lock for the last 45 minutes. And we talked about a lot of the things that changed on there. And a lot of things do end up staying the same. We had a lot of good matchups at running back, players going up against really bad situations. We had wide receivers going against really bad situations defensively, meaning situations that we want to attack, right? Good DVP spots, bad defensive teams. And a lot of those guys went off. Some other things happened as well. Let's dive into it and take a look how things kind of turned out this weekend. So here's my article. It's a ESPN Plus piece. You can search on Google every week for Best Buys week, whatever week it is. So this Thursday, search for Best Buys week 13 on Google. It'll be the first thing on their list right there. So starting at quarterback, I had Cam Newton. He ended the day with 23.5 DraftKings points. 25 of 30, extremely accurate, was Cam Newton on this day. Not a guy who's noted for his consistency, not somebody who's noted for being very accurate on his career, but he's up, 9 points over the rest of his career. He's been very accurate this year versus every other year. A lot of things have changed, a lot of shorter throws. Christian McCaffrey involved a lot. DJ Moore involved a lot around the line of scrimmage. They're doing what they can to make him be more efficient, and he has been. Didn't break the 300-yard bonus. Did have 63 rushing yards after not rushing a lot for the past couple of weeks. Back to being the great quarterback that he is for fantasy. Lamar Jackson didn't get the 27 carries that he got the week before, but 14 of 25 through the air for 178 and 1 touchdown with a couple of picks. Ran the ball 11 times for 71 yards and a touchdown. Now, we don't know moving forward who's going to be the starting quarterback because, as I've said before, I'm not a big fan of gamesmanship from coaches because usually it doesn't matter. But if you have Lamar Jackson on one side and you have Joe Flacco on the other side and you're not going to show your hand, defensive coordinators are going to have a nightmare because those are 2 totally different offenses that you're going to have to plan for. The Lamar Jackson Ravens offense is totally different from the Joe Flacco Ravens offense, and therefore they're going to create a nightmare for whoever they play the rest of the season. If they're not going to tell you which one's going to start and play the majority of snaps, you essentially have to have 2 completely separate game plans that force you to do things differently. Now, Lamar Jackson paid off his salary at $5,700 with 22.2 DraftKings points. Thanksgiving, we had Colt McCoy for $4,700. I'm not going to focus on the Thanksgiving ones for this because this is a main slate breakdown, really. Melvin Gordon played hobbled. Only had 10 carries for 61 yards and 2 touchdowns, 2 catches on 2 targets for 5 yards, got injured again. 20.6 DraftKings points on 12 touches is absurd. Probably should have sat the game out. Obviously, that could be hindsight being 2020. Melvin Gordon wanted to be there for his teammates and play. This was a spot where they could have gotten away with resting him and probably should have, and then played him in a situation where he got injured on a play that should not have been in the playbook with them up the way that they were and all those sorts of, it was just bad all around. Leonard Fournette, though, 18 carries, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns on the road in Buffalo, 3 catches on 3 targets for 13 yards. 25.8 DraftKings points. He continues to be a volume beast, and we're going to have to monitor that moving forward. As bad as the Jaguars are, and who cares what they do in terms of wins and losses, if they keep feeding 20 to 25 or more touches a game to Leonard Fournette, he's going to be somebody that we're going to continue to want to ride, especially when they get around the goal line. They give it to him. Nick Chubb, the most explosive player on the Cleveland Browns, continues to show out. 28 carries for him in this game. Not really efficient, though, this week. 84 yards and a touchdown. Didn't really break a long one, considering that was on the table with the Cincinnati Bengals giving up long plays to running backs as often as they have, and as often as Nick Chubb has actually turned a handoff into a long run. Did not materialize this week. Had a touchdown on the ground, one through the air, 3 catches on 3 targets for 44 yards, 27.8 DraftKings points for only 6,300. I think the first look last week we had Fournette and we had Chubb, so not a bad start there. Matt Breida, 20 DraftKings points, 14 carries, but broke the 100-yard bonus on DraftKings, 106 total yards. Rushing on the day, 3 catches on 4 targets for 34 yards. Tampa Bay is continuing to be the giving tree. We're going to just keep attacking really bad defenses against that position as much as we can every single week. To me, so good process at the running backs. Turned out to be good results as well, even with Melvin Gordon, who you probably came off of because of the injury reports and everything else. Hopefully you pivoted to somebody like Christian McCaffrey. I didn't. Mistake on my part. Odell Beckham Jr. would have been great to know that attacking the depleted Eagles secondary was not really in the game plan beforehand, as reported by Jordan Raanan on a quote from Odell Beckham Jr. He did get 9 targets, however. But I was hoping for his usual 11 to 14, which we pretty much see from him every single week in a game where they lost and the game plan was not attacking the weakest spot of your divisional opponent. He caught 5 balls on 9 targets for 85 yards. So what? 17 yards a catch? You just didn't think to throw him the ball a little bit more in those situations? You got to kind of take those chances, Coach Shermer. Keenan Allen did what he could do, although that game got out of hand, so that limited his target upside. Phillip Rivers, ridiculously efficient yesterday, completing basically all of his passes. Completed every single one that he threw to Keenan Allen. 7 catches on 7 targets for 72 yards and 1 touchdown. 20.2 DraftKings points. That feels fine to me. Jack Doyle found his way into the end zone, but Eric Ebron was once again the Colts tight end to own. With the injuries to the other guys, Ebron played a ton more snaps. You can go check out Adam Levitan's tweet about the snap counts and all that sort of stuff. Or if you have a PFF subscription, you can go look at it yourself. Basically, Eric Ebron just thwarted my entire blurb here. And because of the other injuries, played a ton of snaps, ran a ton of routes, scored 2 touchdowns, but Jack Doyle did get in there himself. 4 catches on 4 targets, 16 yards and a touchdown, 11.6 DraftKings points. Kind of helped, but didn't hurt. You know, didn't really help you a ton, didn't really hurt you a bunch either. David Njoku, 5 catches on 5 targets, 63 yards and a touchdown, 17.3 DraftKings points. We finally got a payoff day from him after a couple of really bad misses where he just had no usage at all. San Diego Chargers ended the day with 8 DraftKings points. Eagles ended the day with 4 DraftKings points. And this is what I was feeling on, Monday and Tuesday of last week. By the time we get to the weekend, a lot of things changed for me. Here's a look at my lineup, and it was disaster. I didn't play very much cash this weekend. I didn't think I had anything over $20. I wasn't going to play cash games this weekend, but I made a clerical error when I was entering games and didn't feel like going through and deleting my 120 cash games one by one. So I entered 5, 10, and 20. So if you played it, happy Black Friday and Cyber Monday to you, because you probably beat me. I think I won like 5 or 6 of the 120 head-to-heads that I had out there. I took more of a GPP approach. I had Lamar Jackson. Gus Edwards became somebody who was very viable once Alex Collins was inactive on the day. We knew that he was going to get a ton of looks. He did not score a touchdown, but 23 carries for 4.4K. 118 yards, broke the bonus. That's just fine. If he gets himself into the end zone, it's a 20-plus point DraftKings day. I'm fine with Gus Edwards at 4.4K. He was our X factor on the Anti-Tinkercast on Sunday morning. Marlon Mack was something that I probably should not have gone to. I'll talk to in a little bit about why. For 5K, I don't mind the volume that he got. 15 carries, 2 targets, that's fine. But when I had the value of Gus Edwards, I probably should have come off of Odell Beckham to get down to where I wanted to get to. ODU grad, thank you very much for the 2 months in a row, man. Appreciate that. Keenan Allen was somebody who was always going to be in there for me. Odell Beckham was where I stuffed here for 8,500 and probably shouldn't have, for 8,800. Probably should have gone with one of the running backs here as I try to get to my 70 combined targets or combined touches plus targets from my running backs. Kendrick Bourne chose the wrong value wide receiver with everybody out. Essentially, Garcon was out and Goodwin was out as well. I chose Bourne. Pettis got into the end zone. Didn't work out. Obviously, Adam Humphries got into the end zone again for the same price of 3,900. The volume wasn't there. I used him to unlock Odell Beckham Jr. It just didn't work out for me. Just bad process for me. Jack Doyle, fine. James Conner, expected more volume against the Denver defense, even though it was on the road. Denver's defense not very good in DVOA versus opposing running backs. The mistake here was 7,800 for James Conner on the road versus 7,900 for Christian McCaffrey at home. Obviously, McCaffrey had a monstrous day, double bonus, 100 yards rushing and 100 yards receiving. If I had paid up the extra 100 there, my lineup looks totally different. We're not having such a pity party on Monday morning, but it is what it is. And I went to the Bills because they fit at 2,700 for 7 points at home against Jacksonville, who is not that good of an offensive football team at this point. Looking at who won, Big Balboki took down the listener league, or so took down the listener league last week, took down the 4-man contest this week. Congratulations to you. Saquon Barkley, he also had James Conner, went with Gus Edwards. Cam Brate, who was the absolute chalk, scored as much as Doyle did. They kind of did the same thing. Emmanuel Sanders, who we liked a lot this week, 21 points. DJ Moore had another good day, especially with Cam being as efficient as he was. Tyler Boyd, Ravens defense was the big monster to own. Adam Levitan, Josh Adams, Gus Edwards, so he went value as well. Went Connor. He explained in his Monday morning article why he did that, so go check that out on DK Playbook if you hadn't. CSU ran with 150. I think the cash line had to be between 150 and 160 in a lot of head-to-head matchups this week because that's where I saw most people in my head-to-head. So congratulations if you guys won this week. I hope that you were on the right plays. And we're going to get back to it this week. Look out for the first look that I've got coming out later today right here on YouTube. Please like and subscribe like this video and subscribe to this channel. I would appreciate it very, very much. And thank you for the continued support. And we'll get on to week 13. Hopefully do a little bit better than we did in week 12. Bye, everybody.